Good evening. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners and welcome you all here tonight. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Police Chief Bill Carter.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches, we're going to be hearing from George Fuller of the Wendell Christian Church.
Mr. Fuller is not on the call. Mr. Fuller, if you called in from a different phone number than the one you provided me, can you unmute yourself by hitting ***, please? He's not on the call.
What do we do? I think a board member is permitted to do it.
Either forego the invocation or ask another person to do that.
Someone else like to offer the invocation tonight?
I'm happy to, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Father God, we thank you for this time that you've allowed us to come together and work on the business of the town. We ask that you would keep us safe and allow us to work to the betterment of the town. In Christ's name, amen.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Madam Mayor, if we could add an item 6B for discussion on Wendell possible early voting site recommendations.
Is that in the form of a motion to approve with that addition?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Joyner to approve the agenda with the addition of discussion of early voting site. I'm going to poll the board. Commissioner Joyner.
Aye.
Commissioner Deloach.
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz.
Aye.
Commissioner Tarnaski.
Aye.
And Commissioner Boyette.
Aye.
All right, thank y'all. We have 4 people signed up for public comment tonight. During our virtual meeting times right now, people can submit their public comment or make arrangements with the town clerk to call in. You can submit it by email or you can call in. And those submissions are, the deadline for those is the Friday prior to the board meeting each time. Tonight we've had 4 people sign up. Just as if you were here, when I call your name, you need to state your name and your address for the record, and you have 3 minutes. And so you're on the clock, no matter, even though we're doing this virtually tonight. The first person that we're going to hear from tonight is Brandon Strickland.
He's on mute.
Yes, this is Brandon Strickland. Can you hear me, Commissioners?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm having a hard time hearing you guys. The reason I signed up
I
tonight
need you to
is
state your,
to speak
Mr.
on the
Strickland, I
road.
need you to give us your address, please.
My address is 4428 Roseville Road, Wendell, North Carolina, 27591.
Okay, thank you. Now, begin.
Okay. So the reason I signed up to speak tonight is in regards to the agenda item that is setting the meeting to have the public hearing on the Roseville Road property. As you all well know, this public hearings and this plan has been going on for over a year now. And as you guys are aware, we've been to 3 or 4 planning board meetings where the community town hall has been a standing room only. And we've also had a meeting with you guys where the room is packed. And you know, I know that town business must continue, but with the lack of, I guess, of us being able to hear at the planning board meeting, I felt like we were at a severe disadvantage, not being able to hear the thoughts or the comments of the builder. We asked questions during that meeting that were not answered. And we weren't able to follow up because we were muted. And we didn't want to be rude and unmute ourselves and be kicked off the call. But there's not a good forum on this online system for something of such importance. This it's one of probably the most contentious subjects that I can recall in the town, and I've lived here my entire life. You know, normally these meetings are not that well attended. I think we've been respectful, organized, we've educated ourselves on the topic, and we've been reasonable in our asks. And I do not think it's fair that something this important that's going to affect all of us would be handled virtually, where I feel like it puts us at a disadvantage. Because it's a whole lot easier when you're distanced from someone to be rude or to be less attached to your vote, because nobody's there to look you in the eye when you vote. I think something that's going to affect everyone and that has brought so much contention should be held in a forum where we can be looking at you guys face to face and can actually hear what you're saying and make sure that you can hear what we're saying. Because body language means a lot, and having to look someone in the eye when you vote means a lot. So I just would hope that you guys would reconsider. I know you can't put all town business on hold, but I doubt you'll have other agenda items in the future that pack your town hall where there's 30 people outside. If you do, then there's probably some pretty, crazy stuff going on in the plan. So I would just ask that you consider outdoor options, maybe the community center, and especially like tonight, we can't even hear you guys. And so I don't even think the technology is there right now, unfortunately, for us to have a good virtual meeting. So again, I just ask that you guys consider that, since we put so much time and effort into this, that it wouldn't end this way. I don't think it's fair for anybody. And I'll yield the rest of my time respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have a staff person call in and be listening while we're in here doing that? Okay, because we need to check on that. The next person is Frank Braswell.
I live at 4116 Roseville Road, Wendell, 27591. This is a follow-up on what Brandon has had to talk about. In all likelihood, tonight, the board will make a decision on whether or not to consider the Weathers property for annexation in your July meeting. If you do decide to put the property on your July agenda, I'm asking that you stipulate that your July town meeting cannot be virtual for some reasons that Brandon just discussed and others. There are some powerful reasons why. Reasons that this annexation discussion and likely final vote should and must be in person. First, I'm guessing not a single person on tonight's virtual hookup heard anything positive about the clarity of the audio and communications during the planning board meeting on May the 18th. On a scale of 1 to 10, best case, it was a 3 or a 4. Only 2 people in the entire meeting that spoke through the mic at the podium could be clearly understood. When the vote was taken at the end of the meeting, calling attendees could not hear the reasons for the members' vote, nor the actual vote itself. At the end of the vote, the board had to be asked what the final vote actually was. Shouldn't attendees in a meeting be able to hear the reasons for the members' vote, be it a yes or a no? Secondly, the people of Wendell elected 5 commissioners and a mayor to represent them. Does the town of Wendell deserve to see and hear their elected representatives and be able to understand the reasons for their decisions? This will not be possible via a wireless hookup. I personally communicated with a person in town leadership the day after the planning board meeting to voice my concern about the quality of the meeting. The response I got was, "Go tell the mayor." Third, there is no logical reason why a virtual discussion and vote must occur in July. The developer is now in the 14th month of this desired annexation. The initial plan was submitted to Wendell in April of 2019. There have been 5 to 7 revisions and changes, not to even mention the 2 requests the developer made to have Wendell approve their request that were against statutes and the Wake County planning and zoning requirements. In closing, as leaders of our town and community, You should not try to settle for a solution without regard to the quality of the work product that each of you swore to perform. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. Next is Ben Weathers. Give me your address, please. State your name and give me your address, please.
Mr. Weathers, if you're on the call, you did not provide your phone number, so if you can hit star 2 times on your phone, it'll unmute you so you can speak. Ben Weathers, if you're on the phone call, if you can hit your star on your phone twice, you can speak.
I guess he's not on the call. Okay. Next, David Cozart.
David, you're unmuted.
Hello,
Yes, sir, it's your turn to speak.
this is David Cozart. I live at 6324 Weathers Road. As most of you know, I've lived in this area for my entire life. I'd like to echo the thoughts of the previous speakers and request that the board arrange a public hearing in a face-to-face content and not a virtual format. It's very, very difficult to hear anything that's said on this call so far tonight. As stated earlier, this project is very controversial. It's been controversial from the inception, and I believe the residents in this area deserve to be heard face-to-face. Appreciate your help. Thank you.
Okay, let's try Mr. Weathers again.
Mr. Ben Weathers, if you're on the call, if you can hit star 2 times, it's your turn to speak.
All right. Let's move now into our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Right. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'm going to poll the board. Commissioner Joyner? Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Aye.
Commissioner Masque?
Aye.
And Commissioner Boyette? And that passes unanimously. Let's move on. We have no recognitions and reports or presentations tonight. We have no public hearings tonight. We're going to move into item 6, our administrative items. Item 6A is appointments to the Town of Wendell Parks and Recreation Commission and Tree Board. I assume we're starting with the Parks and Recreation Commission, and we're going to hear from Town Clerk Megan Howard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board. Tonight, we will be finishing up our recruitment for the Citizen Advisory Boards for this year. If you'll excuse me 1 second. I need to... Our recruitment for the Town of Wendell Citizen Advisory Boards began in February of this year and closed at the end of April. Communication efforts include advertising on the town's website, news feed, events, and Citizen Advisory Board pages, an e-board post on Wendell Boulevard, social media, and a PSA video, as well as the town's newsletter, When in the Dell. We adjusted the process to provide for safe social distancing during COVID-19. Staff requested on Tuesday, May 12th, that the Board of Commissioners review the application sent via email for the Planning Board, Economic Development Committee, Parks and Rec Commission, Appearance Commission, all 6 of the boards, and that we follow up, or that the board follow up with applicants on any questions concerning their application. So the Tree Board has 5 vacancies with terms lasting for 3 years. The Parks and Rec Commission has 2 vacancies for terms lasting 3 years, 1 year for youth. Due to the results of last board meeting Citizen Advisory Board recruitment, if you'll excuse me one more
Okay.
time. Due to the results from the previous Citizen Advisory Board recruitment, the town now has 0 applications to be considered for the Parks and Rec Commission, and 1 application to consider for the Tree Board, since the previous applicants to the Parks and Rec Commission were appointed to other boards. So I will pass out the ballots for the vacancy for the Tree Board, and we can vote on that. If the board has any questions, I'm happy to answer them directly.
Questions, gentlemen?
No.
Okay, go ahead, Megan.
Ma'am?
Commissioner Boyette, can you hold your ballot up, please? Thank you, sir. All right, so Shelley Ryan will be appointed to the Tree Board. I will be coming back to the board at a later date to discuss the vacancies remaining for the Parks and Rec Commission and the 1 Tree Board vacancy.
How many do you know off the top of your head how many we have for both of those?
Yes, for the Parks and Rec Commission, we have 2, I think it's 2, or, yes, it's 2 vacancies for the Parks and Rec Commission, 5 for the Tree Board, now 4, since we've just appointed 1.
4, so there's 4 now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right, thank you.
Yes, of course.
Item 6B is a discussion on early voting site. I think Commissioner Joyner asked for this to be added.
No, thank you, Madam Mayor. The Wake County Board of Elections, I guess, asked about a variety of things, specifically using the community center for an early voting site. And in the past, the board has, I think rightfully, prioritized using that site. At some points, when I say that, I mean the county board. They've used it in the past, they've not used it in the past. I feel as if we should reach back out to the board and communicate to them that we're open to allowing them to use the community center. I understand that things are in flux. That's kind of the reason for my thought process. Schools are going to be reopening in a new and odd way at some level. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. So I'd like to ask or at least direct staff to just pass those sentiments along. My thought being the community center is different in that it's not a school. It has a large open space. It can be used continuously. And in the past, when we've not fully supported it, I feel as if the Board of Elections doesn't consider us. And I certainly would hate for our folks to have to drive to other communities when they theoretically had an option here. I certainly understand that Parks and Rec operates there and would love for staff to come up with another solution. I hope that the Board of Elections has a much better site that is within Wendell's corporate limits and that can be easily used. But I'd like to make sure they realize that we're not attempting to tell them no. We just want them to make the best decision based on all of the available sites, including the community center.
Does anybody have any comments, anything they'd like to add?
No, I think that's a good idea, Commissioner Lutz. I think that's a good idea in this time in which we don't know, what things will look like in November. To at least leave ourselves open for our citizens to have an easier access point would be good. And I think it'd be a little bit foolish for us to not at least consider that at this point. So I like that idea.
Commissioner DeLoach, I support it also. I've had a couple conversations about it, but I think it's important that we don't not consider it. I guess that's the way to say it, but at least pursue the option. I know that in the past I've gotten the questions about where we could vote locally, and if we can have a local spot, obviously with it being 2020 and we have a general election, not just municipal election, certainly think would be helpful.
When we were contacted, what part of the community center were they interested in using? Or did they even say?
Yes, Mark Collins, Town Manager. Given the expected turnout and current health conditions, they wanted to use the gym instead of the large back room as they've requested in the past. So that's that basically would close the community center for use at this point. That is where our indoor classes are being offered right now because it allows for social distancing. Other than the outdoor passes stuff would still be available. It is a value judgment for the board. Staff reported the prior policy, but we're open to whatever direction the board has. Obviously, voting and participation in the electoral process is extremely important for a community as well.
And to be completely clear, I appreciate staff acting the way that they did and responding the way they did, and I certainly see it. Just recent events give me a little bit. I feel like we are constantly now with conference calls and everything else thinking about all the different components. And when I thought about schools and the elderly and then our population locally, it seemed like a good. And I don't think it's really anything formal other than just letting the manager pass along our best wishes to the Board of Elections as they attempt to determine what the best site is.
Personally, it would be my preference if they could use the large activity room. I think maybe they haven't seen it and they just assumed, but you'd have to walk through it to get to the gym, or you'd have to walk through the lobby to get to the gym. So if we're talking about social distancing and safety and things like that, I feel like where that has its own entrance on the side, we could maybe block some parking for them, and there's plenty of room in there to spread out, and I would think put at least 3. I just think it's something to think about. I hate to stop it, but I understand where Commissioner Joyner's coming from as well, and I certainly want it to be convenient for Wendell citizens. So just talk with them about it. Yes. Anything else from anyone else? All right, we have nothing pulled from the consent agenda tonight. Update on town board committees. I went to I had a virtual Campo meeting this past week. We held a public hearing on an update to the public participation plan for electronic meetings for Campo. So all groups are struggling through some of the things that we're all struggling through and that came up in some of our public comment tonight. But we discussed the open meeting, the processes and things required during the state of emergency. We had a report on the natural gas pipeline under the American Tobacco Trail. We heard a North Carolina DOT revenue overview and update on operations due to the decrease in funding and dropping below the statutory floor. And as a result, services have declined at this time. So we heard an update on that. And we endorsed a resolution to encourage the DOT to continue support of the Triangle Travel Demand Management Program. We heard a presentation on the LAP fiscal year 2020 proposed changes, which is essentially adapting procedures and policies about LAP funding to assist those applying and to decrease the number of hurdles in meeting goals for LAP funding. And we heard about a presentation about the Northeast Area Study, which includes Wendell. It's essentially starting off with the discovery of the conditions here and in this area, the Northeast area, leading to policy recommendations and then a final document. The deliverables will be a workbook of projects and a best practice guidebook. There's also going to be public outreach and hotspots and conceptual design of those. If you have any interest in that, you can look up at neasupdate.com, and everything you need to know is on there. And like I said before, take a look. Wendell is included, and there's a survey, so we encourage you to take the survey as well. And the last thing we discussed was the 2050. We plan way ahead. The 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan update has begun, and we discussed that process. All right, the next is the Technical Review Committee, and we're going to hear from Mayor Pro Tem John Boyette.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I was unable to attend the TRC meeting this month. However, I was informed it was a pretty light meeting, mostly concerning some right-of-way issues. The July meeting is expected to be a lot more substantive, is what I was told. So that's all I have for the TRC meeting. However, if I can give one other quick update, I had a lovely meeting with the town manager earlier this week, or late last week actually, so we could begin our process of reviewing some of the architectural and engineering proposals that we got for the new town hall. It's quite a number of them. 14 engineering and I think 18 or 20 architectural proposals. A lot of them were very well done. It's definitely a learning curve, but there is a lot of interest, both from firms that have worked with the town before and ones that we haven't worked with. And so look forward to carrying on that work and moving forward with town hall. Thank you.
All right, now let's move into item number 8, Commissioners' Reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to thank staff. I was able to swing by a very socially distanced, safe farmers market this weekend and pick up some local honey. It's cool to see adaptability and the way that the farmers and the folks that are coming out are coming up with new and creative ways for this new time period that we're in. So thankful to staff for, again, their Saturdays and coming up with new and creative ways of doing things. Obviously, received some emails on a variety of things, one of which is this. I'm just going to be as plain spoken as I know how to be. I cover my mouth when I cough, and my mom would have slapped the taste out of my mouth if I didn't growing up, because she said it was polite to others and I wouldn't make them sick. I certainly appreciate all the varieties of viewpoints. So for the record, I think that we can do some things to help prevent things, and that's a good thing. And I do it as a courtesy to others, and I think that we can do that wherever possible. I think that's in the spirit of what town staff put out earlier this week, is everyone be safe and considerate. I feel like we have the ability to do that uniquely in Wendell because we're a small community of safe, considerate people that are going to do the right thing, and I certainly appreciate that. I appreciate everyone's consideration as we move forward through a variety of these new processes. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last week I spoke with Shelley Lesnowich of the Wendell Chamber of Commerce. Town staff reached out to Shelley as well as the Chamber President. Just wanted to let everyone know that there will be a meeting upcoming with the town and the Chamber regarding the Harvest Festival, so please stay tuned for more information on that. As far as what I call the Masque Debate, as far as that goes, I'm okay with supporting, recommending, even encouraging what I call all the things, which is hand washing, social distancing, virtual meetings is needed, and yes, that includes even wearing a mask. I want our local businesses, our schools, and our churches to be open, and I want them to be as safe as possible. And I certainly prefer that Wendell be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. So again, just standard courtesy, be respectful, and certainly be diligent in just doing your part. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Lutz.
I have just one comment. I will not be in attendance at our next board meeting. For any citizens who have anything they would like to speak to me face-to-face about, or at a social distance about, or a phone call or email, please reach out to me. I'm open to discussing. I wanted to kind of make it known it's a vacation that was planned a long time ago, but I will not be at the next meeting. That's all.
Okay. Commissioner Tarnasky.
I just got one comment, Mayor. I'd like to say good evening to everyone, and I'm glad we are leaving it optional for masks because it's our choice and our freedom in America to choose. Thank you.
Commissioner Boyette?
Yeah, if everybody else is going to weigh in on the Masque Debate, I suppose I will too. I definitely support wearing a mask when out in public and indoors. I won't tell you how I know, but I can assure you that community cases are on the rise. I can assure you that this disease is around and it is spreading and it is becoming more prevalent out and about day to day. It is going to be with us for a while until we all learn how to not spread it amongst each other, or until there's a vaccine or something like that. But right now, the best thing we have to keep yourself and to keep other people safe is to wear a mask when you're in public and you can't socially distance correctly. And so I would encourage everyone to please wear a mask when you're out in public and you're inside somewhere where you can't stay an appropriate distance away from other people. Thank you.
Okay. I want to remind everybody about the farmers market. It's going strong Saturdays from 9 to 4 downtown on Campen Street. I think there were 9 or 10, I can't remember how many I counted now, vendors this past week, and it's a big time, and I would encourage you to go and check that out. This year, for the 4th of July, there's going to be a modified celebration due to the coronavirus, but there's several ways that you can participate as a citizen. You can watch the reverse parade, which means that the town is bringing the parade to you, to your house or your street or your neighborhood. Maybe not right by your home, but very close by. I can't promise it'll go right by your house, but it's going to go all over town. If you're interested in getting on the route or getting close to the route or knowing where it's going to be, you can certainly contact the town. Contact Stephanie Smith at smith@townofwendell.com, and she'll be happy to help you. She's shaking her head yes. She can't wait to help you. And this is going to be on Saturday, July 4th at 2 o'clock. The farmers market ends at 1, and then the reverse parade will be at 2. They are encouraging everyone to decorate their homes and businesses and to be ready to wave and have a big time when the parade goes by. Also, on July 3rd and 4th, there's going to be a drive-in movie at the Wendell Community Park. I believe Trolls something. My kids are too big for that now, so I don't remember what it is, but it's something about trolls. And it's going to be at 8:30 p.m. At the Wendell Community Park. And you can contact them. There are limited spaces. You can contact them and get signed up for it. You need to go to the town website, look under departments, go to Parks and Rec, scroll down to where it says register, and you can register there. And I looked today myself just so I could tell people how to do it, and it's very simple. So I encourage you to do that. As far as the coronavirus, we're monitoring it. We all are monitoring it every single day. It hasn't gone away. I am bothered. I've had a lot of senior citizens and some citizens to call me on the phone almost in tears because they're petrified. I don't want you to be petrified. I want you to be smart and make smart, sensible decisions to protect yourself and others. Be vigilant, but enjoy your summer and use social distancing. Wear a mask if you choose. Wash your hands. Don't get close to other people. Wipe things off constantly and continue doing what you've been doing all along. Our number, I believe, went up in our city limits by 1 since yesterday. It is growing in this part of the county. So just be vigilant and be safe, but I do want you to enjoy your summer, and I don't want people to be fearful. I just want you to be smart. And I think that's a wise way to go. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor.
Sorry, yes.
This is Ben Weathers. We cannot hear or understand, and a lot of us have signed up to speak, and we have not been called on. What's going on?
Mr. Weathers, we tried to talk to you about 10 times tonight, and we have already... Can you let me finish?
This is the worst thing
I'm talking.
I've ever heard in my...
Let me finish.
I mean, if we...
Mr. Weathers, you did not provide your telephone number like the instructions said when you signed up for public comment. And so we were not able to contact you. We've been trying to unmute you the entire meeting. You were asked, we finished public comment and came back to you again. But because I'm going to, feeling generous tonight, I'm going to give you 3 minutes right now, but you need to go right now.
Much, but this is about the worst thing as far as
I'm not
communication with.
interested in hearing an account on the quality of our meeting. I want you to give me your public comment, and we're going to move on, because we're ready to adjourn.
Right.
So go ahead, you can begin. Are you there?
He hung up.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we're adjourned.